Welcome, horror fam, to HHN 365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. My name is Mike, and I'm here with my co-host, Duff.
Hey, guys.
And our producer, Nico.
Hey, howdy, hey.
As always, you can follow along with us on Twitter and Instagram at HHN 365 and leave us a voicemail at 407-906-3405. On today's show, we'll be moving on to our second match of this year's HHN Trivia Challenge, as well as holding an abbreviated version of our annual Schmidties Awards we are calling the Schmidties Lite.
Yeah, that's what we'll call it. If you don't remember, for HHN 29, we had a fun little award show that we basically picked a bunch of random things we liked about the event and awarded who did it best, what tastes best. We're a little late because it's not the year of HHN Lite anymore, but still off season, still counts.
Is it the second annual Schmidties Awards, or does it really not count?
I mean, I think moving forward, we'll probably count it, but I think Schmidties Lite is more appropriate to refer to it as.
Okay, but it will. The next one coming forward
will be the third annual. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Before we get to that, do we have any news, rumors, anything to announce real quick?
No, nothing really as far as rumors go, of course. But there a little bit of news that we can keep going with is that we, of course, have our fun charity stream coming up. That's going to be Winter Blunderland, a night for charity. We're going to be working with a bunch of other content creators in the theme park community, playing some fun games such as Quiplash, which we're bringing back, this time including theme park questions instead of just HHN ones. We're going to announce all the details probably this coming week from when you're listening to this. So it's about time. We're going to get everything out there. You'll see. I'm not going to give it away. You'll see everything. And we're excited to finally get everything out there.
And that is Saturday, February 6th. All right, let's hop right into our first segment of the show, which is going to be our second week of our annual trivia challenge.
And I'm excited because I think we worked out a few of the timing kinks we had last time, mainly me, like cutting over Nico a lot. But I think we got everything down and ready to go this time.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to last week's show yet, Alex, HHN Wiki, has moved on to the final round, and we have 4 new contestants this week to see if they're going to go against him.
Yeah, so let's start bringing them in now. So we did tell you last week that we're bringing back all of the finalists from last year's trivia challenge. And this week is going to be Natalie, who you can find at Countdown HHN on Twitter. Natalie, thanks for coming back on.
Thank you guys so much for having me back.
Absolutely. We're excited to see if you can get to the finals once again. Maybe get a little streak going here.
Here's to hoping.
Joining her, officially first time on the show, she is half of the Scream Queens. You can find her at Scream Queens 85 and at CCTron. She's also probably the most popular player of HHN Quiplash. If you're following the chat, that is Cece. How's it going, Cece?
Hey guys, thank you for that awesome introduction, Mike.
You were definitely the most popular player. Everyone was rooting for you in HHN Quiplash in the chat. You have a fandom.
It was definitely a blast. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us that night.
And then someone else joining us tonight, you can find them on Twitter at AeroDragons98, and a first timer on our show. That's going to be Tristan. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
And lastly, rounding out the 4, you can find them at Deviously Doomed on Twitter. First time on the show, that is Ari. How's it going, Ari?
Going pretty good. Excited to be here.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And then should we just quickly give a little overview of how our trivia challenge works again, Mike? Just for anyone who's tuning in for the first time to this.
Of course. Let's do it.
So as we said before, someone that played last week, that'd be Alex, they won and they advanced to the finals. So whoever wins this week is going to join them in the finals, and it's going to be the same every week. And that's going to be a Jeopardy style finals. However, in this first round, it's not Jeopardy style. We use a buzzer. After we ask a question, they buzz in. First 1 to 5 questions is going to win. There is going to be a 10-second timer that we're going to pretty strictly follow. And other than that, I think it's pretty just simple trivia, right?
Basically. What is the topic of today's trivia?
So this week's trivia topic is going to be 3D houses. And now I might
Ooh.
remind you, 3D houses have not only taken place in Orlando, so we may spread out a little bit.
I hope you were a globetrotter because there might be questions about events other than Orlando. All right, do you want to go hop into it, Duff?
Let's do it. So to kick off this week's trivia, what was the only 3D house to win Orlando's House of the Year award?
Cece, you were in first.
I'm going to guess and say Jack's Funhouse Clownavision.
That is incorrect. Tristan, you're next.
I've never experienced a 3D house, but I'm going to go with the in-between.
That is correct.
Mike's taking my job.
I have taken your job. I will refrain from doing that.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
All right. Tristan has 1 point. It's on the board. Everybody
All
else
right.
is at 0.
Oh, and you may have noticed we're using different sounds for right and wrong answers this week. And that's going to be a theme we continue. We're having fun with this. All right, next question. What location held the very first 3D house at the Orlando event?
That is Cece is in first.
I want to say Sprung Tent 2.
That is incorrect.
Natalie, you're in second.
All right. I am going to guess Soundstage 23.
That is incorrect.
Tristan, you're up next.
I'm going to guess the old earthquake queue.
That is incorrect.
Ari, would you like to take a shot at it?
Ooh, could I possibly say Soundstage, what was it, 24?
That is incorrect.
Oof.
Ooh, ouch.
The first ever 3D house was Universal's Creature Features in 3D, which was at HHN 9, and it took place in Nazerman's.
Oh.
Oh,
What?
my goodness.
Which is now a Starbucks and a Ben & Jerry's.
Ah,
Oh,
okay.
that one.
Yes.
That one.
Oh, man.
All right, so no points have been picked up on that question, so we're going to move right on. Which 3D house was set in a malfunctioning video game?
Ari.
Was that Anxiety?
That is correct.
A.
All right.
Good
Ari
job.
is on the board. Ari has 1. Tristan has 1. And Cece and Natalie are sitting at 0.
While the technical name is Anxiety in 3D, I think we could drop out the 3D part of the name and still give you a point for that. Not too much of a worry.
Just a hint, if you say 3D at the end of most of these, you'll probably be right.
That's
All
true.
And our fourth question of the night. What was the price of all the items in the movie theater snack bar featured in Universal's Creature Features in 3D?
Tristan, you're in first.
I'm just going to guess $6.66.
That is correct.
Awesome.
Good
All right.
job.
Another one for Tristan. That brings 2 for Tristan, 1 for Ari, and Natalie and Cece, you're still at 0.
So Mike wrote this question, and the second I read it, I went, someone's going to be able to guess this, even if they don't know it. And
Yeah,
that's
that
what happened.
was the point. Some
No,
of
I
these,
know, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
some of these, if
kinda
you don't know the
threw off the bat.
answer, if you just kind of listened to it and use some this logic, you might get some of these.
Yeah. Definitely. All right, moving on to the next one. Which Orlando event was the first to have the standard black HHN branded 3D glasses that were not themed like they had been in previous events?
Ooh.
Ari.
Was that possibly Penn and Teller Nuke Vegas?
That is incorrect.
Darn.
Ooh.
Natalie.
I'm going to guess around, you said what year, correct?
Yes.
Year. I would say 2014.
That is incorrect.
Tristan.
I'm going to guess 2009.
That is incorrect.
Cece, do you want to take a shot?
I'm going to go with 17.
That is incorrect. And this was another Mike question. And again, when I read this one, I went, someone's just going to have to guess. They're not going to remember this. That's just insane. I didn't know, I'll be honest. But no points are picked up on that question. And the next question, a music box located in Asylum in Wonderland 3D when open played what song?
Cece.
I'm going to guess White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane.
That is incorrect.
Tristan.
I'm just going to guess Pop Goes the Weasel.
That is incorrect.
Natalie.
All right. Wild, crazy guess. Happy birthday.
That is incorrect.
Want to take a shot at it, Ari?
I can't even fathom what was in that box.
It was me. I was in the box.
What's the answer, Duff?
The answer was the theme to The Godfather.
Oh,
What?
whoa.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, well, I mean, the mandolin's a pretty cool instrument. So
It is.
As
Yeah.
a-
My grandpa
as a-
plays the mandolin, so it has a really close place. To me.
And I believe
That's actually
Duff did not
so
answer
cool. I'm not gonna lie.
the last question, which is it was HHN 21, the in between.
Mm.
Oh, did I not say that? My bad.
No, that's all right. I just knew people were yelling at their.
Tell me what it was.
they've already driven off the road in anger.
They've literally just flipped over their cars in anger. Somehow, they weren't even touching the wheel. The car wasn't even on. The car just.
Right.
As we all have listening to podcasts, of course.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
I dropped the wheels are on the roof of my car. I mean, what, you guys don't drive upside down? Weirdos.
All right, moving on to the next one. According to popular belief, which The Simpsons characters made an Easter egg appearance in Jack's Funhouse in Clownavision?
Tristan is in first.
It'd be Krusty.
That is incorrect.
Natalie.
Okie dokie. So I'm just gonna take a guess and say Krusty and Sideshow Bob.
That is incorrect.
I know that was last week. Sorry, that was perfect timing to use that one.
Ari is buzzing next.
All right. Was it possibly Bart and Lisa?
That is incorrect.
Ooh.
Cece, you want to take a shot at it?
I'm going to go with who is Itchy and Scratchy.
That is incorrect.
All right, can I take a guess?
Yes, you can
Yes.
take a guess.
All right, you said this is a Simpsons character in a Jack house, right?
Correct.
Oh, it's got to be Homer.
It has to be Homer?
Yeah, like
Why does it have to be Homer? Now I'm curious.
It's like,
So
he's
I'll give everyone a hint. It's not going to count, but there was an alien themed room.
Oh,
Kang and Kodos.
both of them together.
Yes, they
Yep.
were. Yes, they were together on the wall.
Oh.
And now you can seasonally ride them.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that one.
That
No, it's
is
okay.
the best spinner in Orlando. So
Nico always dreamed of riding King and Kodos when he was a child.
yeah, that's right.
I can't.
All right, we're going to quickly move on from that one. This is going to be a two-part question. What is the name of the comic book publisher that is used in HHN lore? And can you name one 3D house where it is featured?
Natalie.
I know that it is Ultraviolent Comics. And it was used in, I want to say, Lunatic's Playground.
That is correct.
Natalie
Good
is
job.
on the board with 1 point. Tristan still has the lead with 2. Ari has 1, and Cece still at 0.
All right, moving on. In which 3D house is there a scare actor representing Emma Watson?
Tristan.
Is it This Is the End 3D?
That is correct.
Wait, what?
You know the movie This Is the End?
There was a house on This Is the End?
With
Yes.
Michael Cera and shit?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a great, so the facades, so the house looks terrible. I didn't get to do it. The house seems terrible, but the facade is badass. And Michael Cera's up in like a lamppost, and he's asking where the fuck his phone is. It's great. It's great.
Oh, was this on both
Only
shows?
reason
Hollywood. Sorry. Yeah, this was, for those who don't know, it was in Hollywood in 2015.
Okay.
Wait. This Is the End came out in 2015. I thought that movie came out in like 2012.
I believe
2013.
the movie did. Yeah. They were not
Okay.
completely timely with this house.
I was
Yeah.
gonna
It came out in
say, 'cause,
2013
like,
and a couple years later. Yeah.
the only thing I know about This Is the End is that at the end the Backstreet Boys perform. That's what I know. That's
Aw.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, you don't
it.
need it.
Everybody.
I was gonna say, is there ever a timely time for this house to be released? I don't think so.
I just can't believe there was a house based on that. Wow. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, most people can't either. It's okay.
Future episode, house dissection of This Is the
Hard. All right. Next question. 4 rock stars or bands have been featured in varying forms in 3D houses at HHN. Can you name 3 of them?
Natalie is in first.
Alice Cooper, Black Sabbath, and Slash.
That is correct.
Natalie, you move up to 2. Tristan's still at 3. Ari's at 1. And Cece, you're still at 0.
And you named Black Sabbath, which had Black Sabbath 30. And music by Slash has been in Clowns 3D. That 4th rock star would be Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses in 3D Zombie Vision.
Excuse me, guys.
All right. I don't know why that was so funny. Next question. Which 3D house had a Bible removed mid-event because some involved in the creative process are atheists?
Tristan.
I'm going to go with the In Between.
That is incorrect.
Natalie.
Would it be Alice Cooper Goes to Hell?
That is incorrect.
Either of you two want to try to take a stab at it? Go ahead and chime in or buzz in if you do.
2 seconds till we call it.
Oh, Ari.
All right.
Is it possibly the Black Sabbath house?
That is incorrect.
And then Cece, you can go ahead and take a shot if you'd like.
I have no idea.
No problem. So the answer would be Penn and Teller nuked Vegas. And that's because Penn and Teller are atheists, apparently.
Yeah, it was in the chapel, the wedding chapel.
Correct.
They don't believe in God and they don't believe in secondhand smoke.
The more you know.
Don't get me started. They apparently believe in it now, but don't get me started. don't get me started on Penn and Teller bullshit.
All right, we're not.
Penn and Teller, the vape gods.
Hurry up, let's move on. Let's go. Come on, before we get started. Next question. Which is the only 3D house to be located in Thunder Falls Terrace?
Tristan.
83D?
That is incorrect.
Natalie.
It wouldn't be what was it? Anxiety, would it?
That is incorrect. A couple more seconds before we call it. And time. So that would be going back to HHN 13 and Funhouse of Fear.
Hmm.
And Thunder Falls Terrace has only had 3 houses total. So, not much of a history going on for it. Nico, can we get a reminder of what the score is at this point?
Absolutely. We have Natalie rocking 2. CC is still at 0. Tristan is rocking a 3, and Ari is at 1.
All right. And moving on. Jack's 3 Dementia took place at which HHN event?
Natalie.
Singapore.
That is correct. It took place at Singapore's HHN 4 in 2014. Go ahead, Natalie.
If you guys ever want to hear somebody yap about HHN Singapore, you know who to call. It's me, if you can.
I'm sure we'll have an episode at some point. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
one of these times. One of these days.
Don't mind if I do.
All right. Natalie and Tristan are both tied at 3 with Ari in at 1, and Cece is still rocking that 0.
Why is everyone rocking something with you?
I'm just in a rocking mood, just like Neil Young, keep on rocking in a free world.
Uh-huh. All right.
All the boomers really loved that.
They really do.
I'm sure we have so many boomer listeners. All right. Next question.
They play this at all the senior homes.
We're really popular in Southwest Florida. All right. Next question. Which 3D house appeared at 2 events under the same name?
Natalie.
It wasn't Alice Cooper Goes to Hell, was it?
That is incorrect.
Tristan, you're in next.
Would it be Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare?
That is incorrect.
Ari.
They didn't reuse Asylum in Wonderland, did they?
They did not.
Okay.
Cece, you want to take a stab at it?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No problem. So that would be Rob Zombie's House of 1,000 Corpses in 3D Zombie Vision, because it was in Hollywood 2010 and then right again in 2011.
Oh.
Okay.
Makes me glad to live in Orlando.
Many things about HHN should make you glad to live in Orlando. All right, moving on. Oh, no, go ahead. Tell us why.
I was about to say, I'm also a Rob Zombie heel, I guess. In addition to being a clown's heel. I guess that's a new character. That's getting created.
You're not going to be invited to Sinful Island, apparently.
Oh, yeah. No Sinful Island for me.
You're going to love clowns soon. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Which 2 3D houses were the first to be housed in their location? And then to clarify, they were the first ever house in their location, not just the first 3D house.
Tristan.
Would it be the Men in Black tent?
There are 2 answers.
Oh. I don't know.
So I have a few more seconds.
3 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ari.
Where the places use the Shrek Theater and the Men in Black tent?
That is correct.
Hey.
So just like we were talking about Rob Zombie being in back-to-back years, this also took place in back-to-back years with Asylum in Wonderland 3D at HHN 25 and Lunatic's Playground 3D at HHN 26.
All right. Natalie is at 3. Tristan is at 3. Ari is at 2. And Cece is still at 0.
All right. Moving right on. Which 2 3D houses featured the same astronaut suit costumes?
Natalie.
All right, so I'm just throwing these out there. I'm going to guess one was the in-between and one was Lunatic's Playground. Just throwing it out there.
That is incorrect. 3 seconds to buzz in. And time. The answer would be Jack's Funhouse and Clownavision from HHN 17 and Penn and Teller Nuked Vegas from HHN 22.
Clownavision, eh?
My favorite type of vision. All right, next question. And this is going to be a two-parter. Which
All right.
Orlando house location has held the most 3D houses, and how many has it held?
Natalie is buzzed in.
All right, I'm just going to really throw a guess out there. I'm going to guess it was Soundstage 24, and it has had 4.
That is incorrect. Do we have any other buzzes?
Tristan is now in.
I'm going to guess Shrek with 3 houses.
That is incorrect. Was there another buzz in, Mike?
Not yet.
All right. We're going to call it there then. That would be Sprung Tent 2, which has had 3 houses, Jack's Funhouse and Clownavision, Penn and Teller Nuked Vegas, and Afterlife Death's Vengeance. We really went back to back with Jack's Funhouse and Penn and Teller? Look at
Yes,
that.
we did. We did.
All right,
fine with
next
me.
question. What Hollywood 3D house featured War Pigs, Iron Man, and Children of the Grave?
Natalie.
Black Sabbath in 3D.
That is correct. Slightly off with the exact title. It's Black Sabbath 13 3D, but that is close enough for us to give you the correct answer.
All right,
I'm
Natalie,
sorry,
you
I
are
just-
on point.
I'm
go
a
ahead.
simple person. I hear War Pigs, I just immediately just like,
Fair enough.
It was a
Fair
question that I got that question right too. Natalie, you are at 4, so you are a point away from securing the win. Tristan, you're at 3. Ari, you are at 2, and Cece, you are still at 0.
And a warning to the audience and participants. There were only 2 questions left. So let's see how this goes.
Yeah, so what that means is that if Natalie is still in the lead after this question, then she has won. If someone ties her and there's 4, then the last question will be just between Natalie and that person, and just basically a sudden death round with that last question.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's do it. Which fan favorite lethal prop that has appeared in many houses since HHN 14 could be found in Afterlife Death's Vengeance?
Tristan.
Would it be the electric chair?
That is correct.
All right. And Tristan.
Oh, wow. Yep.
Tristan has triggered that thing we just explained. It is now tied for 4, where we have 1 question left. So this will actually only be a question for Natalie and Tristan.
And just a little bit further on that fun little electric chair. It has been going strong for well over a decade now. And it is called Old Smoky. However, it was known as Old Sparky in Afterlife Death's Vengeance. All right, so here we go. The final question that is going to fall simply to Natalie and Tristan. Which 3D house featured a track named after one of the main characters, Sweet Licks?
Tristan.
Would it be Clowns 3D?
For the win, that is correct.
Wow.
Good
right
job.
at the
Getting
end.
5 at the
Good
end. With the
go.
final question.
Wow.
2 questions in a row to steal it. That's awesome.
That is a fantastic finish. And that is correct. It is Clowns 3D music by Slash, where they did have a track made by Slash called Sweet Licks, who was one of the main characters.
Good job,
Oh, wow.
everyone. You did so good. We went really, really hard on this question because Alex basically killed it last week. So we wanted to make the questions really, really hard. And you guys did really, really well.
Had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, I hope it was because you're coming back for the finals. So hopefully
Yeah.
some more fun to be had.
All right. Once again, we had Natalie. You can find her at Countdown HHN on Twitter. Thanks for joining us, Natalie. Sorry you weren't able to get to the final again this year, but there's always next year.
I'm just happy to be here.
We're just happy to have you here.
Shucks.
And then Cece, thanks so much for joining us. You can find her on the Scream Queens podcast and at CCTron on Twitter. I'm sure we're going to have you back on the show one of these days, Cece. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was not my category, but it is okay.
No,
It's all right.
okay.
It wasn't mine either. I mean, it was technically mine, but it's not made for me.
And then you'll be hearing him shortly. Tristan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It was a pleasure.
And then lastly, Ari, thanks so much for joining us. You can find her at Deviously Doomed on Twitter. Thanks, Ari.
Thanks for having me too. Had a lot of fun here.
Man, so did we. That was a really close and down to the wire matchup. I don't know if we've experienced that even last year, that it was that close. That was a blast. So just a reminder, we have 2 more matchups left in round 1. And then we go to our Jeopardy style finale where we get our actual champion who will win a nice prize.
All right. Well, that was a great round of trivia. Let's move right on to our second segment, which we have already teased in the intro. That is our second annual / Schmidties Lite.
Schmidties.
What did we officially call? I think we called it the Jack C. Schmidt Awards.
Is that what we called it?
I think we did, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, Schmidties Lite works for now. We'll see what we call it next year.
The Schmitties.
Schmitties.
I have to admit, this was one of my favorite episodes from the early days to record.
Oh, it was. I will.
Love this. I think this is the first one we really got to kind of we were very
just have
stiff.
fun.
Yeah, we were very stiff and kind of nervous the first couple of episodes. If you listen to them, this one is, I think, where we kind of broke out of our shell.
Mm-hmm.
We realized what we are, that we're just here. We're just a couple of goofballs and we're going to be goofy. And this is the episode where I think we really got to shine.
I will say this was also the first episode where we kind of weren't doing any review per se, because every episode before this was during HHN 29 during the season. So it's kind of just following up with things that were happening throughout the season. So this is the first time we got to break off from that format and just, like he said, have fun.
All right. Well, should we hop right into the second annual Schmidties Lite?
We should, but before we do that, spoiler warning for anyone who did not experience, I guess, any of these houses, but specifically Beetlejuice. We will be potentially sort of getting into some spoilers. So if you don't want to hear any of that, be careful. We're going to go too detailed, but we're going to say some things you'll see some things that happen that maybe you wouldn't have wanted to hear about. So cut off at this point if you don't want spoilers for Beetlejuice or any of the 3 houses of HHN Lite for that matter.
Yeah, we went back and forth whether we would count Beetlejuice as qualifying to nominees. And I think we came to the conclusion that while it was only around for a couple of nights, I think it deserved to at least be potentially to be nominated and potentially win. So we decided to add it. And because of that, we are going to potentially get into a little bit of spoilers. This might not be the segment for you if you're really trying to avoid anything about any of these houses, or especially Beetlejuice.
I do promise that moving forward, we are going to try to limit how much we talk about any kind of spoilers from this year if you do not get to experience. So unfortunately, this is one of those segments that it's going to happen. So
we're literally trying to assign the awards of these houses. And so we can't not talk about what happened in these houses in this segment.
And we just keep talking, so you have more and more time to click off if you'd like, to make sure we don't ruin this for you. And to pad this a little bit more, should we just tell them what the categories are?
Sure, absolutely.
So we have drink of the year, food item of the year, merch of the year, scariest house of the year, most immersive house of the year, the ensemble scare actors of the year, the scare actor of the year, and the house of the year. If you did listen to our Schmidties last year, a lot more categories. We made it much smaller because the event was much smaller. So
some of the categories last year did not have any nominees at all. So obviously we would not sign out an award for best character in the streets when there were no characters in the streets. Or best show of the year when there were no shows. Or best stain scream area when there was so there was just quite a few things that just did not have a nominee this year. But
I would argue that every street was scare zone of the year on a weekend. It was terrifying walking through there sometimes. So
true. We could have added like best house to use like the virtual queue, something like that. Best person to virtual queue with, that would be Nico.
Hey.
Schmidt Award winning Nico.
Finally won one after all these years.
Producer of the year. Heart hands for you there.
Let's hop right into the categories. Again, now's the time to tune out if you are trying to avoid any spoilers at all from HHN Lite. All right, the first category is Drink of the Year.
Ooh, this is always a favorite for us.
Yeah, definitely a favorite, and I think this year we'll talk about it. The nominees are A Vampire's Curse.
Sounds familiar.
Mango Inferno, and the Loop Guru.
Ooh.
Only 3 nominees. And Duff, do you want to go ahead and announce the winner before we start talking about the 3?
So the Schmidties Lite winner for Drink of the Year is the Loop Guru.
Yay.
We don't have to do that every time. It's okay. So yeah, I think for me, this was like the standout, the obvious winner. I mean, it was a delicious drink. One of my favorite cocktails they've had at any type of HHN event, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. This was a good one. Vampire's Curse was actually, I think, the favorite from last year. Did it win last year? Or was it the
no, I believe with the Saturn one for us. I do know if you're talking more general consensus, Vampire's Curse was the favorite of last year, and I think for a lot of people this year as well.
Yeah,
but Mango Inferno.
I'm pretty sure we had Vampire's Curse nominated.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, congratulations, Vampire's Curse, for getting in because one of the drinks was so bad that you had to be brought in to save the day.
Yeah, last minute replacement.
Looking at you, Circus Peanut, you piece of trash. So really quick breakdown of the drinks. Vampire's Curse, Captain Morgan Spiced Rum, Fruit Punch and Sour Mix, the Mango Inferno, and this is a really interesting one, and I did like it. The El Jimador Blanco Tequila, Mango and Lime Juice, Yellow Curry Powder, Agave Nectar Salt, and it was topped with a jalapeno slice. So that's a really interesting cocktail that I did enjoy, but not as much as the Loop Guru, which was Pusser's British Navy Rum, Cruzan Dark Rum, Pineapple Juice, Honey, Chamomile Tea, Lemon Juice, and Pimento Bitters.
Yes, it was a good one.
It was fantastic. And then if you didn't know, Loop Guru is, I don't know if it's technically French or if it's Creole specifically, but it means werewolf. Pretty much.
I think it's French because there's
okay.
Yeah, there's a roller coaster called Loop Guru that's in Europe. So
yep. There you go. Nico, thank you for pulling out the theme park knowledge to save me.
All right. Well, that was the first category. You want to move on to the second?
Yeah, absolutely. So our second category is going to be the food item of the year. And we have the Twisted Frankencoils with blood and guts, the Jackfruit Pizza, pizza fries, the vegan brownie, and the bacon cheddar and scallion waffle stick with jalapeno maple syrup. Right. Mike, do you want to tell them who the winner is?
Absolutely. And the winner is Jackfruit Pizza.
You delicious, healthy, vegan motherfucker.
I think most people would be shocked by this.
I don't know if it's actually healthy. Yeah, I know. I don't think many people would have picked this. I think there's actually probably 3 or 4 other options most people would have gone with. Honestly, I think some people found this downright disgusting, but me and you love this.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
my wife as well loved this. This was her
Yeah, that's
favorite.
true. That's true. So the jackfruit pizza is a barbecue jackfruit on cauliflower pizza crust. And man, it was
Taste.
it was just really fucking good, guys. And that cauliflower crust, like the texture was great. The taste was great. It kind of had this sweetness and a little bit of a kick at the same time. It was delicious.
And yes, we know that pizza fries is probably going to win this category often. It's kind of if you watch the Emmys for reality television, it's the Amazing Race. It's probably going to win most years. But the jackfruit pizza was really, really good. And I think sometimes the pizza fries is going to be upset. And this year...
And I think a problem for pizza fries is inconsistencies. That they are so easily overcooked. And when they are just not good anymore. And, every time I had a jackfruit pizza, it was fucking great.
It was great.
And then I do also want to give a specific shout out to the bacon cheddar scallion waffle stick and that delicious jalapeno maple syrup. That thing was delicious. And I ate it several times. And that came out of the tribute store.
Yeah, that was kind of a dark horse potentially to win this.
Yeah.
Right?
I know, right? I think it had a shot. It was so good. I just don't think it had enough of a it factor like the jackfruit pizza did.
It didn't always come out piping hot either. I think a lot of the time it had to be hot. It would sit in that warmer that wasn't quite, and it would get a little soggy sometimes.
Yep. But I'll tell you, that jalapeno maple syrup, man. Oh,
yeah. That was
good stuff. I would drink it.
All right. Moving on to our next category. It's a merchandise item of the year. The nominees are Midnight Syndicate, music of HHN Vinyl, limited edition 500. Jack Artist Signature Series poster. HHN 2 shirt. Scare Zone shirt. And the Greatest Hits / pinball poster.
I like all these. I own all these.
Who is the winner?
The winner is, to nobody's surprise, if you look at the resale value, the Midnight Syndicate music of HHN Vinyl.
Yay!
All that enthusiasm. So if you know anything about this, it was going for about 300 on the secondary market, and to this day is. So people really want to get their hands on this. They made it really tough for a lot of people to get. As Mike said, it's only a limited edition of 500, and I luckily do have one. It looks great. Like the packaging looks great. The actual vinyl looks great. It's got fantastic HHN music on it. There's nothing not to love about it.
Yeah. Do we think that this is going to lead to HHN doing more limited edition type things like this?
I would not be opposed to it. I'll tell you that. I don't know if they definitely will, but I would love it if they did, because I'm a sucker for that kind of shit, unfortunately, for my wallet.
Any dark horses do you think that was potentially getting kind of close? I love that Greatest Hits poster. Mm-hmm. I think that was on there. I don't think quite on the same level as the Midnight Syndicate vinyl, but it was good. A really good merch. Honestly, really all these were very solid. Plus there are a bunch of other really solid stuff. This was a stacked category this year.
Yeah. I think one of my favorites that I'd like to point out is the 92 shirt that has the chainsaw going through the pumpkin, because we actually named that our favorite ever HHN shirt before it came as a throwback shirt. So we were obviously going to love that. I think we specifically asked for them to release it this year for HHN 30, and lo and behold.
Yeah, if the vinyl didn't come out and it wasn't so great and so well done, this probably would have won, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. That Jack Artist Signature Series poster is a beautiful piece of art, though. I will give it credit. It wasn't going to win, but it's a good nomination.
Also, that come out of nowhere, that Scare Zone shirt.
Oh my God, it was so good. And it gave away things about this year, or what would have been, should I say, and probably what will be next year. So that it gets extra points for that. But
style is always going to be a second for me.
Yeah. And if we get more of that this coming year, please You already take a lot of my money, but take even more of it. All right, so let's move on to the next category then, which is going to be scariest house of the year. Well, we're going to do 3 nominees, so you already know what they are. Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives, Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, and Beetlejuice.
And the winner is Revenge of the Tooth Fairy.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Let me act shocked, even though I picked that with you.
No, I think they really, if you tried to pick where Revenge of the Tooth Fairy shined, it would be the scare factor, and I think it did it really well.
I think it did too. I think it had a little bit more hype of scariness than it was actually scary, but that's because of the atmosphere it created, and it had that intimidating atmosphere with intense scare actors, and the plexiglass kind of limited the actual scares.
Yeah,
so scariness dropped a bit.
A little bit, I would say.
Yeah, of course. But I would say, just on the atmosphere alone, it's got to win, right?
Yeah, and that close claustrophobic feel, and I think it definitely deserves this.
I will say, Beetlejuice probably didn't deserve to be nominated in any way, but because we do 3, it just kind of had to.
It kind of had to. I don't think if we got a full slate, it wouldn't have been a nominee, but it should in here.
I wouldn't be surprised if it would be dead last in a full year. Like, not say it's a bad house, but that's just what it is, you know?
Yeah, I think it would have been last based on what we were supposed to be getting. I think it would have been last. Maybe Puppet Theater, depending on how they did that.
Yeah.
But yes,
Wicked Growth, I think, has a lot of potential to be a terrifying house. But we'll get
into that later. This is not what we thought it could have been. This is
what we got.
Actually was, and we got Revenge of the Tooth Fairy.
And this isn't taken away from Bride. It had some like really intimidating scenes, which we're actually going to probably get into a little later. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But Tooth Fairy, the atmosphere is just so scary, and it had to get it.
All right, moving on to our next category is the most immersive house of the year. And the nominees are Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives, Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, and Beetlejuice. And Duff, who is the winner?
The winner for the most immersive house of the year is Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives.
Yay!
Yeah.
This one deserved it. I think it really deserved it.
I think you kind of have an argument for something else potentially being up there, but for me, it's not even close. I think the sets were just so beautiful and really transported you. And I think a big thing for me as well as that the restrictions, such as the plexiglass, did not ever take me out of it in this house, whereas it did in like Tooth Fairy.
I think this is the first category where the Beetlejuice factor, while we said it wouldn't eliminate it getting nominated, it definitely played a role in it not winning. I think if Beetlejuice was there for the entire HHN Lite event, I think, at least in my eyes, I would have really gone to bat for potentially Beetlejuice being the most immersive house of the year. From what I got to see, my one run through, this could have been potentially the most immersive house of the year. The fact that it was only around once, I got one run through. You just can't nominate it. You can nominate it, but you just can't win.
Honestly, I think you talk to some other people and they'd probably vote for that. No, I think a lot of people would, to be honest.
They got a lot more runs than me. Like some people got 15 runs I got one. So,
but to me, I think there's a disadvantage for IP houses like that. Whereas they can be immersive, don't get me wrong, but there's a sense of I am walking through a movie set, whereas Bride literally brought me somewhere else with its immersiveness. So that's more of a personal thing on my end. So I don't know often I'm ever going to vote for. Bride is technically an IP, but you know what I mean, like an actual like specific movie IP. where like you have direct sets from movies. It's not going to
movie that you know you already know. Yeah,
exactly.
I see what you're.
And that's just a personal thing. They're still immersive. Right. I think for me, that is going to win a category like most impressive set design or something. You know.
Do you know what house from, not to jump back too far from 29, but do you know what IP did it really well for immersive?
Who?
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, hell yeah.
A very immersive house. I don't know if it actually even got a nominee from our immersive list last year, but if you're just focusing on IPs, that did a really good job of being an immersive IP house.
Oh yeah, I mean, not last year at this point. Well, I guess from what we're talking about, last year, HHN 29, it was a strong year for immersiveness, so it was tough for it to break through. But I totally agree with you. All right,
I see IP event at some point breaking in and winning.
Oh, it's definitely possible. I'm just saying the chances of it getting my top vote aren't that high, but I could definitely settle with you to let it win.
Yeti won last year. I believe we gave it to Yeti.
Did we? I mean, I believe that. I totally believe that. All right. So next category, the ensemble scare actors of the year. So to kind of describe what this is a little bit, basically we're looking for a specific character where there's multiple of them. And this could be in a specific like stretch of rooms as well. So our nominees are from Bride. We have, just the brides, all of them. Also from Bride, we have Dracula's brides, specifically the ones in the dark pinball corridor scene. And I don't know what else to call it, but you probably know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And this one's pretty simple, but Tooth Fairy, we have the fairies.
And the winner is from Bride of Frankenstein Lives, Dracula's brides.
Yeah. This is who I was pitching for, so I'm happy they won.
It deserves it. These guys stood out. If you kind of looked back and like, you know what, ensemble set of characters, I think all of these were actually pretty great and potentially could have won. But Dracula's brides in this particular stretch, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, because you got, let's see, there were 3 of them, and you would get nailed anywhere from 6 to 9 times between these 3 scare actors. And it was dark, and they were intimidating, and in your, as in your face as they can be for the restrictions in place. But they killed it every single time. And they changed up the timing to actually like surprise you and nail you if you've been through the house multiple times. And I think they also had the advantage that you have a specific like memorable area to look at, whereas the brides and then the fairies are just the entirety of the house. Like we tried to think, and we couldn't think of a specific stretch of them to choose. So we just kind of went with all of them. And I think kind of thinking to one specific area gives Dracula's brides a bit of an edge anyways.
All right. Our next category is Character of the Year. And now this year, I believe last year we had male and female. We had shows, zones, and houses. We really had a lot of different Character of the Year categories. This year, because of the limitation, we really only had the ensembles character and the singles character. So to describe singles character is basically one specific spot in a house. Now, yes, we know that there's cast A, cast B. There's multiple people who play this role, but this was just basically the one specific spot in a house. Right, Doug?
Yep, that's pretty straightforward description.
And the nominees are Facade Beetlejuice and Facade Bride.
Wow, we really stretched it out there and have some options, huh?
Yeah, go ahead and announce the winner, and then we'll kind of discuss.
So our winner is Facade Bride.
Yay! Yes, she is an absolutely deserving winner. I will say it was sort of a weak category just because these houses were all kind of very ensemble heavy houses.
Mm-hmm.
I would say there weren't a lot of like really standout one specific like showstopper like some of the HHN 29 where you have like a standout in a scare zone or a standout in a house. This year, because of the limitations, you didn't quite get that as much as some of the other years.
And I think because of restrictions, there was, you know how there's always that scare actor in a house who hits you harder than anyone else? Like
Right.
they take advantage of the space they're trapped in there with you with.
Right.
And that wasn't possible. So you couldn't look at anyone specifically in any spot. It's like, holy crap, I'll never forget that spot because of how they treated me every time I walked through. And I think I kind of considered Bride's Assistant. But I think when you compare it to the Facade Bride and the Facade Beetlejuice, it's completely different levels.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very ensemble heavy, and not in a bad way. I think.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Ensembles were so good in all, especially Brides and Tooth Fairies, that they almost, because they were so good, none of them really stood out one above the other, and that's not a bad thing.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I think for me, going on to the actual two nominees, Bride gets the win because it's tough. Again, this is more of a personal preference on it feels like a Horror Night house. And while the Beetlejuice kind of improving with you and just having fun is cool, it's not what I look for in a Horror Nights house. I'm not mad it was there. I thought it's a lot of fun, but it's not going to win this award for me.
Yeah.
Where Bride put on a fantastic performance every reset, every single time. I didn't walk through one time without like feeling the pain. And I know that the audio isn't coming from her,
Right.
but like the movements are so flawlessly perfect. She acts it out so well.
Yeah, what a really great character spot. Like so good. And I like the movement and all basically the whole design there is top notch. And then the characters obviously pulled it off.
Yeah, and I mean it doesn't help that there's this kind of interactivity with Frankenstein's monster, you know, a dead Frankenstein's monster. Like that helps so much, and just the beautiful setting around it. Whereas Beetlejuice, again, like we're looking at the scare actor, but other factors matter, and there's no kind of real theme to that facade, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas Bride's was absolutely beautiful. So
I also love how just emotionally kind of jarring and like that it just starts off with, and then it just from there it just kind of keeps going throughout the entire house. It was a really, really great spot.
Where I would argue kind of getting that improv Beetlejuice doesn't necessarily it sets the tone for the house, what kind of house you're going to get, but it's not a energy that carries through, you know? After that, it becomes more static. Whereas Bride completely carries what you get in that room all the way through. So it's a tone setter. It's well done by the scare actors. And it's really good. It's just really good.
Yeah. I think this is another one that was really hindered by the Beetlejuice one weekend only factor. I think if this was around for the entire run, I think the Facade Beetlejuice I think would have been a fan favorite that was talked about all the time. I mean, he already was. But I think he potentially could have just been so talked about, and that we went basically it would have just been an obvious choice.
And I mean, listen, if my predictions are correct, and some others who I've heard, who I'll tell you guys actually off because I don't know if we want to share it yet. But it's not insider from me. Don't worry, it's nothing like that. But we'll probably get to see these two compete in this category next year. So
yeah, potentially, yeah. Yeah. Now, do you think that they, in a full slate, that all three of them would, or both of them would end up making this category? Now, keep in mind that there's a good chance that this this will be split by gender, and that there will be a male and a female like we did last year if there's enough to fill it out.
I mean, honestly, I think there's a good chance that both of them just fall off completely because, again, I kind of look for more of a scare actor where there's the specific spot in a house with the specific character that it just is over the top every time and just nails you every time. Like, that's typically what I'm going for. And I don't know if either of those will be that. They're a little bit too much in focus. Whereas I'll end up overlooking them eventually.
Yeah, I think Facade Beetlejuice, just the way that the was Janine, right, from Ghostbusters. I believe she won last, or
I think so.
It's the fact, the improv, and the fact, the energy it brings to be on mic and the improv. I think there's a very good chance that Facade Beetlejuice will probably be nominated again next year. Facade Bride,
and then
I don't know, but it's hard to say.
It's impossible to tell. But we'll know in about 10 months when we do our next Schmidties. So look forward to that. We do have one more category. So I guess this is the big one that caps our night. That's going to be House of the Year. So, as you already know, we have Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives, Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, and Beetlejuice.
And the winner is Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. That's not surprising if you've listened to our podcast at all this year. So, yeah. I think it was probably easy choice for all of us. I think we all picked it as our favorite anyways on our personal list, right?
I put Beetlejuice. I think
you did.
I did.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I did. I was looking at it as just from comparing one run to one run to one run. I wasn't comparing it to like the amount of times I got to do the others. I was just kind of basically giving Beetlejuice like a handicap almost. It got first because
I mean, I'll take any single run I had in Bride over my couple I had in Beetlejuice, to be fair. So yeah, I just think it's a house that's way more up my alley, and it just feels like a Horror Nights house, and like it again, it has those kind of interactive elements at the facade with that Bride, and it actually like getting the Universal Monsters and actually like following an entire story through that for a change is so nice. And like last year was one of my favorite houses. It was my second favorite house last year, actually, Classic Monsters. And to actually add a story to it, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, totally agree with everything you say. All right. Well, that caps off the second annual Schmidtie Awards, Schmidties Lite edition.
I hope we have a longer one next year with more discussion when we actually have more than 3 houses.
It will be a full-on show. It will come probably. I'd like to put it right before the year ends. I would like to put it kind of like
late December.
No, I was thinking like late October, like before it's over.
Oh,
because I think when we did it last year, we did it like mid-November. It was kind of like it was a time where everyone was kind of in the hangover, not quite listening to the podcast. I would say the best time to put this would be potentially like leading up to the last week of the.
Oh, wow. I mean, now that we're just saying it, I mean, let us know. What do you guys want? Do you think it should be placed like last week of the event or the week after the event or something like that? You know, what's the best time for something like that?
Based on the listeners. No, we obviously have a lot more listeners.
Yeah,
now.
Things were a little different then in general. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, you could be right. That was why we were in that hangover period where Horror Nights just ended and people want to take a tiny break before they start getting back into Horror Nights stuff. So yeah, no, I get your point. But yeah,
try try a few things and see what works.
Hey, I mean, if you want to let us know in like a voicemail, please do. If you just want to shoot us a tweet, whatever, let us know.
Speaking of your voicemail is 407-906-3405. And our Twitter and Instagram is HHN365.
Oh, I like that segue. That was beautiful. But yeah, please use those avenues because this show is all about kind of discussing with you, the community. So let us know what you want. That's what we're going to do most of the time.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for listening, guys. Once again, thank you so much for our trivia contestants. That is Natalie, Cece, Tristan, and Ari. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with another round of trivia and a really fun segment that we're not going to spoil, but listen up because I think you'll like it. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the streets.